this week, guys, NFL Combine going on in Indianapolis. You'll have 3 Husker players at the event: wide receiver Trey Palmer, tight end Travis Vokolek, edge rusher Ochaun Mathis. Some noticeable guys not in Indy for Nebraska: Caleb Tanner on the edge, Garrett Nelson on the edge, and then a former Husker of intrigue that will be at Nebraska's Pro Day, I believe, Sip, Damian Jackson.
Oh, yeah, he'll be there.
And he's been doing his training in Lincoln to be a long snapper at the next level.
He's really training. I mean, he goes to Phoenix to get specialized training, goes to Wisconsin to get specialized training, has Chris Slatt. He's coached Slatt up on what to look for, hand placement, how the ball leaves his hand, if it's off a little bit. Slatt's had to get well versed in that. This is a 30-year-old who's trying, 30-year-old former Navy SEAL who's trying to make the NFL as a long snapper and is putting everything into it.
It's going to be an incredible movie if he makes it reminds you of the movie where Mark Wahlberg is the bartender and just tries out for the Eagles and makes it. I mean,
yeah. What movie is that?
Invincible.
Yeah, Invincible. I saw that.
Never watched
Vince Papali.
It's not the greatest cinematic masterpiece you'll ever see, but it's pretty good.
But this movie, the Navy SEAL having friends in combat and what he went through, and then the way he was turned down and he waited for Mike Riley in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think he's got a legit chance to at least get a look.
I think so. I mean, he's putting everything he has into that. And he's training 4 days a week with Chris Slatt, as is Caleb Tanner. Caleb Tanner's interesting. You said edge. I don't know. I think he projects
linebacker.
Yeah, definitely linebacker. I think what hurt him. I mean, maybe I don't like to say hurt him because he was a very productive player, but I think he was a little out of position. I think he could have played like a Sam type linebacker or even an inside. Yeah, even an inside linebacker. I think he could do that. And I think at the next level, he projects as a linebacker for sure. Not an edge. He's not big enough.
Now, Robin, what's the schedule for Combine this week?
All right. Well, it started already. They're doing
team
interviews, measurements, all that sort of stuff. That started on Monday. But the actual on-field drills start Thursday, coincidentally with defensive line linebackers. So a lot of those names you just mentioned are going to be right out of the gates. Those start, I believe, 2 p.m. Central.
So that would be Ochaun. But the other guys aren't in the Combine.
Right.
Ochaun. Thursday.
Ochaun. When's Trey Palmer?
Receivers go on the 4th. So what would that be? Thursday? No.
Today's the 1st.
I don't know what day is today. Whatever. March 4th. I don't know.
Yeah, you were up till 3 o'clock last night.
Yeah, I know. It was a late night last night.
Saturday's the 4th.
So they go quarterbacks, receivers, tight ends, all on March 4th.
Okay.
So the days to watch, if you're a Nebraska fan, Thursday for Ochaun, but really, I think the big story for the Combine for Nebraska is Trey Palmer. What will he run? Will he have the fastest 40 time at the Combine? I think he's going to have a chance.
Jeez. You think he could have the fastest one?
Have you ever seen a guy? I mean, look at Iowa's defense. Who runs away from that defense like that? Nobody, because they're schooled not to let you do it. He still outran them. Yeah. Like Ohio State didn't run away on Iowa like that.
Purdue is the game that opened my eyes when he was just running by those corners.
It was like a video game.
I go, what'd you tell that guy? He goes, I said, dude, you suck.
Told a corner that.
Dude, you suck.
So if he runs the fastest 40, that's sort of reminiscent of Fabian Washington, right? Fabian Washington, the former Nebraska corner. I think he ran the fastest 40 at the Combine back in
history at that time.
It was 2000.
Early 2004.
3 or 4, yeah.
Well, 5 actually, because he played 1 year for Callahan. Didn't he play he played the 04 year for Bill Callahan.
Okay. That was back when you could still scoop people on things. I always remember that quick story. I was laying on my couch on a Sunday night. And Fabian Washington called my cell phone and said, "Hey, I got some news for you. I'm going to the NFL." I was like, "Oh man, I'm off today. I'm gonna have to do some work here.
I'll get to it tomorrow."
Fabian just called with the news, and then he goes out and bangs out that low 4s 40. Now, Sean, that'd be amazing if Trey Palmer did that. That'd be amazing.
He's for
realistically
sure
4
4
threes.
threes. He's
Yeah.
for sure 4 threes. Like
He's got to go do it now, though. He's got to go do it. That's
That's
the
his
thing.
game, man. He's a sprinter.
Yeah, and his game is the part of his game is he's an ultra confident guy.
Mhm.
Like he's not going to freeze
He
up.
won't be
No, he won't freeze up.
intimidated by the moment.
No, he loves it. He loves it. He loves it.
like he's gonna run. It's just gonna look so smooth. Like
Yeah.
when you see those sprinters and you can see their mouth, it's like just that.
I didn't know that, but yeah. Now that you
Just when you see like a really fast guy and they just
Yeah,
look
yeah.
so fluid, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what he's gonna look like, and
Yeah.
you're just gonna be like, they're gonna be like, whoa.
yeah, that's going to be interesting. And then
Vokolek.
Vokolek.
He goes on Saturday as well.
Okay.
To me, seems like a back end of the draft guy.
Sure.
I agree.
6th, probably 7th if he gets drafted.
Yeah, I think that Vokolek's a fifth round, 6th round guy. Ochaun, same,
5th
right?
round, you think?
It'd be high. That'd be a high upper end. What about Ochaun? I think Ochaun's a 5 to 7, 5. Fifth
Yeah,
round
I've
to
seen
7th
some
round.
people say he could be as like high as the 3rd round,
Ochaun?
depending on what he does at the combine.
That's surprising to me.
So-
I think he's a good player.
Something to watch. I mean, if he goes out there, he's a freak athlete. Like
I would not. I don't know. Is he a freak athlete?
he
He's
was at
good.
TCU.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw like when they actually could rush the quarterback.
Watch
like the
that Iowa
game.
game.
He had 9 pressures
Yeah,
in that
watch
game.
that Iowa game.
How many
Alright.
games were they in 3rd and long where they could just send him?
I am not suggesting. Don't hear that I don't think he's a good player. I do. But when I think of freak athletes, I think of Randy Gregory. And I thought maybe Ochaun Mathis would be.
Clowny. Those-
Yeah, that's how. Now, Rob, all due respect.
He's not in that
right.
vein.
That's when I think of freaks. I don't think of Ochaun as a
Okay.
freak athlete.
So maybe not freak. He's a very good athlete.
Yes, he is.
That has great measurables and he has production on his resume. So if he goes out there and tests well, runs fast, does all the drills, oh, who knows?
Yeah.
Sometimes that can catapult your draft stock.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I look at go back to 2012. You had Eric Martin at Nebraska, and Pelini turned him into a 6'2", 250-pound edge rusher. He had 8.5 sacks that year.
Mhm.
Do you look at Eric Martin like better than Ochaun?
Just so different.
Or
There's
do you just
such
think the
different
way
players.
the coach and the schemes were, it allowed him to thrive more? Where Nebraska, they had 2 coordinators and they had a lot of things happen this past year where there wasn't a flow. I mean, the Iowa game, there was an actual flow where you're like, all right, we can actually rush the quarterback because we know they're going to throw.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, again, I like Ochaun, but how many times were we sitting? Come on, we watched the games together. How many times were we sitting up there and said, "Oh, Ochaun got pushed up the field again"?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that
That
happened a
was
lot.
kind of the story of his season.
Right. Oh,
For
there he
a lot
goes.
of that,
There he goes.
Where
Getting
he was
pushed
just a
up.
non-factor.
Right.
The Northwestern game,
So that's gonna hurt his stock for sure.
you had Peter Skoronsky just completely neutralize Nelson, and then they chipped it back on Ochaun. And those guys were a non-factor against a 1-11 Northwestern team.
But Skoronsky's probably the number 1 tackle in the draft.
Right. And I did like the way Ochaun pursued the ball. I mean, he was good. He pursued, and he was a hustle guy, and he does have the measurables. He's interesting because he's an edge rusher, and he can make a lot of money if he makes it. He's got a good agent, is what I've heard too.
Mhm.
I
right.
think one of the reasons he's there is because he's got a good agent.
As far as Huskers drafted, give me your number. Is it 2 to 5? I'm going to say 5's the most, which is a really high number.
2.
You think he's going to be 2?
Yeah, I'll go 2.
I'll say 3.
I don't think Vokolek gets drafted. If Austin Allen doesn't get drafted, I don't know if Vokolek.
So you
gets
think
drafted.
Garrett Nelson will get drafted?
No. I
Who are
think
you saying?
Mathis,
Palmer.
Mathis and Palmer.
Okay, Mathis and Palmer. Okay.
2 portal players, by the way. Think about
Okay,
that.
maybe I'm going 3 then. I'll go 3 because
Who's your third?
Mathis, Palmer, Vokolek.
Vokolek's.
Yeah.
No G. Nelly.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Vokolek gets drafted. I don't know.
G. Nelly will be a priority free agent.
Strikes me as a right away, priority free agent.
Remember the pre-Twitter era having to chase down all the
Yes.
free agent
He's
signings?
a mess.
How you'd have to call every guy and track them down after the draft.
Yeah.
That's a night I don't
There's these
miss.
random team sites. I remember there's a Patriots blog that was the best resource for that.
Really?
Yeah. Don't have to do that anymore.
guys like us and Christopherson. We'd have to tackle all these free agent signings
Oh,
on,
yeah.
Well, am I missing something? Why don't we have to do that anymore?
because
It's
the
Twitter.
teams and Twitter
Schools tweeted out.
it just
Oh.
gets done immediately now. They just have it out.
I got to get with it. We don't have to make those calls
Just-
anymore.
Just in general.
Kind of. I mean, you have to kind of figure out if a guy doesn't get drafted, are they going to get signed to a free agent deal, which means they're given a training camp spot, they're given one of the 90 spots, whatever it is, or do they get an invite to the rookie mini camp?
Big difference.
With the chance to try out to get a free agent deal, which if you're Craig Doman, JoJo's dad, the sports agent, said if you get one of those, you got like a 1 in 20 to even make a camp.
So you almost don't want to be drafted in the 7th round.
No, you do, because you get money, you get more signing
There's
bonus.
guaranteed.
Oh, God.
But
you hear different opinions on it.
But if you
signing
don't
bonus
get drafted,
money.
you can pick. Like you and your agent can find the best situation for you to make the roster.
See, Luke Gifford, if he was on this microphone, would say, "No, Sean, you prefer not to get drafted." He knew in the 6th round he was going to the Cowboys, and he didn't want to get drafted in the 7th round. So I don't know, Sean. There's different opinions on that.
Well, the money, like you'll get more guaranteed signing bonus money as a draft pick versus a free agent, and so
the upfront guarantee is greater with being drafted, but your long-term potential of making the team and having the best chance to actually play is probably higher if you get to pick your spot.
like look at JoJo. He made an active roster undrafted.
Yeah,
he got
Luke Gifford.
JoJo
Luke Gifford's
got
a team captain now. for the
Joe
Cowboys.
Stanley Morgan.
Stan Morgan.
JoJo got royally screwed. I mean, like he played in every game this year for the Colts, didn't get drafted.
What do you mean?
Just the fact that he didn't get picked. Like I still don't get that one.
Yeah.
Other than his age.
Yeah, and he was good. I mean, he was productive.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ohio State film would suggest draft pick, right? Just that Ohio State
His
film.
age and injuries.
Yeah. What was he?
24.
Ah, that's age. He's an old man.
The stuff like that's hard to overcome in draft world.